one's gonna get offended by that.
Okay, but if I went and I was like, who the fuck calls it craft dinner? Assholes call it craft dinner. What's that? People like walking out of the theater because that's like a cultural thing of Canada. Or if I was like, or if I were like, who the fuck is Tim Horton? What? Because some asshole played hockey, you have to eat his fucking donuts and drink his coffee now? Or if I were like, who gives a fuck about hockey? It's just soccer on ice that can't be played year round. It's absolutely garbage. You can't play it in other countries.
It is played year round.
I know it is, but I'm saying like an uneducated person coming to Canada talking about these things will look like an asshole to the audience because they're not vetted on these things.
But you don't have to talk about any subject matter that is like at all has to do with culture.
That's true. But then even like you have to have a knowledge about it. So if I came to the United came to Canada and I was like, um, do you guys remember those Kraft macaroni and cheese commercials? They went something like Kraft macaroni and cheese, the blue blocks blues. When mama wants to please me, she's only got to cheese me. I've got the blues. And everybody be like, what the fuck is Kraft macaroni and cheese? That's Kraft dinner. And if I don't have that understanding, that it's not even a comment on Canadian culture. It's just something that I think is universal and is not.
Yeah, but I don't know. You could just talk about it doesn't have to do with culture.
That's true, but even that's going to be different. Like what? I mean, isn't situational stuff culture almost by definition?
But like yeah, if like a British guy is like saying like, oh, I went to the train station and the mate came in. Or Brian has like super British voice, and he's like using words that people don't use here, I guess. But I don't know. Even that British guy describing a situation might just describe a situation where it's just a funny thing that happened. The joke is that his friend left him waiting at the train station or whatever. All audience will be able to resonate with that.
But not if he calls it like a tram, and you don't call it a tram.
Uh, yeah, that's true. I mean, but still, people have ideas of what mate means and stuff. Like,
It's true, but you don't want to make your audience have to work harder. It's already hard enough for them to understand what you're saying. You don't want them to have to translate stuff unless that's what you're going for, which is like uh, I was walking through the tram station the other day, and in my very British proper way, I was like, "Oh, I wonder if I should take the lift to get a spot of tea while waiting for the tram." Like, if you're playing it up like that, okay, I get that. But if you are um, trying to be realistic about the situation and you want to connect with your audience as much as possible, you want to use words that they know that they don't have to translate in their head. There's almost like a certain rhythm to it. And when somebody's not using the right word, it's like they're singing off key. Then everybody focuses on why did they use that word as opposed to listening to the story or whatever.
I I guess. I mean, I feel like it can make it funnier. Like if I hear some Australian guy with like a thick accent doing his like shrimp on the barbie type thing, I might just laugh because it's such a funny accent.
That's understandable. But then the joke isn't necessarily what the guy is saying, the story the guy's telling. It's his like how he's acting it out, or like his um.
No, it could be both. It could be just like the accent enhancing the humor that he's saying.
Yeah, but then there's something about
Like Jim Jeffries, like the way he's like cursing in his Australian accent, talking about all different types of shit. Like he's saying really funny stuff, and he's also cursing in Australian, which makes it funny.
I get that. I get that, but then he's more playing a character of an Australian.
He's not playing a character; he is Australian.
But he's not
But as
adjust.
an audience member, I'm witnessing a foreign person, and the way that he's talking is unfamiliar, which makes it funnier.
Uh, I get that. I understand what you're saying.
But he's not typically throwing in like words that I have no idea. I have to go on Alexa to figure out what they mean.
Yeah, who goes on a website to figure out words?
It's a robot that you can ask anything.
That's garbage.
Alexa, do this. Tell me what this word means. It's just a voice search. I've never used it in my life. I don't intend to.
Yeah, that's why you should do what I do, which is yo dog. Tell me about this. And then I don't have to wait for the bitch to talk. I can just read it myself.
Isn't that using Siri on iPhone? Isn't that even like voice usually?
I don't use Siri. I use Brave.
Okay. If you were doing voice chat into Safari, would it be using Siri?
Oh, it depends what you want to consider Siri. I think of Siri as the thing that talks back to you. If I just use voice to text, that's to me just like the operating system. Some people may consider that to be Siri.
Safari. Oh yeah, I guess Safari is an Apple browser, but they just use Google search engine or something.
Yeah, dude. Didn't I tell you this that the most important agreement that Google has in the world is they pay Safari, I think $1 million a year to be the default browser, the default search engine of of Apple. Or it used to be $1 million. Now it might be more. I'm sure it is. $1 million seems really cheap. Let me look it up. Google pays how much money to Apple every year to be the default search engine? If you're like, why didn't you just say it in your phone? Why didn't it work? My phone's at max. Oh, they pay $18 billion a year. I don't know why.
Billion?
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was a million. Yeah. So they paid 26.3 billion in total in 2021 to be the default search engine.
That's insane. That's a giant freaking fee.
Word dog.
I mean, what are their options?
Bing.
Wouldn't they just want to integrate it because it's a better product than like Bing?
Yeah, but if they went with Bing, Bing would have a huge increase in market share and eventually start to gain on Google.
Yeah, I
To,
guess.
to me, that's the most important partnership in mobile computing, basically. If you can,
Yeah.
if you can
I mean,
dominate,
what about?
Androids by default are made by Google, so they're automatically Google.
No, I thought Androids is like Huawei and all those like Samsung companies.
Android is Google. Is and
Are you sure about that?
yeah, is Android a Google product? Android, an operating system for use on mobile devices. Yes, Android is a Google product. Google acquired the startup Android in 2005 and has since served as the primary developer and steward of operating systems. While the core codebase known as open source project is open source and licensed under the Apache license, Google retains ownership of the Android trademark and the proprietary Google mobile services ecosystem, which includes the Google Play Store, Maps, and Gmail. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but like the operating software that's on, like to me, is a like Huawei phone. Is that an Android phone?
No, Huawei created their own environment in 2016 when they were banned from the United States, something like that.
But like what about like the Samsung Galaxy, whatever?
That uses Android.
Okay. So their default search is Google then.
Uh, no, not necessarily.
Unless Google